Jacqueline Whitaker here with my Circuit STEM lesson plan. Before we get started, I just want to point out that I had a lot of learning to do when I opened up my kit. I do not know much about circuits. Well, I know a little bit more now, but I had to do a lot of research. I spent a lot of time on the Squishy Circuit website. I also had to spend a lot of time thinking about my grade level, their content, their abilities. I teach second grade, so we're talking 7-year-olds, some 6-year-olds, some 8-year-olds. So my lesson had to be pretty basic, and it also required that my students would have a strong background in circuits. Otherwise, I think this lesson would be extremely difficult for them. But if I spent a few days or even a week or so learning about circuits before I presented this lesson, I think that my students could be successful. Lesson plan overview, I do have attached the Rich Task Planning Tool 6.4, but students will be creating a type of birthday cake or a cupcake from the squishy dough. The LED bulbs will represent candles. This is to be used at school or in a place where you cannot have candles to celebrate a birthday. Students will work in groups of 2 to 3, and at the improved portion of the lesson, students will share what they have learned. So step 1, ask. How could you use the Squishy Circuit Kit to make a candle for a birthday cake? So I would introduce the Squishy Circuit website to students and other methods of research. They could start to look at ideas of how they could do this. Then I would present the groups with the kits. I would let them have sufficient time to look through them, look at all of the parts. Then they would design and sketch what kind of design could they use for their cake, how will the circuits be used. Step 3, plan, deciding how the parts will be used. Begin constructing, which could maybe include assigning group member roles. I kind of used the shape that the dough came in, which was circular, to create a circular cake, and then the white had to go on the top and the sides because it was the conductor dough. I do think I could have made this a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't look the best, but it does have that round cake effect. I just don't like how the white part looks. Step 4, create, test, and evaluate. It did not work. I put the batteries in, hooked the circuit up. It did not work. If you're looking closely, I bet you see a reason why this is not working, but I didn't understand that at this point, and my students probably wouldn't have either. Why did the candle not light up? How could it be fixed? How could it be tested? So at this point, students will be sharing their results and thoughts. Why isn't it working? I'm having this problem. Is anyone else having this problem? Sharing their designs, seeing what could happen. So you will see that I do have both wire parts of the LED bulb sticking in the green dough, and one needed to go in the bottom and one needed to go in the green. I did not know that at this point. I did have to do some research and design. However, once I did that, once I figured that out, I used the same bulb to test, and it still did not light up. So I got a new bulb, and to the best of my ability, I realized that maybe the LED bulb didn't work. I couldn't really think of another explanation because I did try the same bulb with the white between it as well as a conductor, and it still did not work. So I think that might have been the issue, but of course an issue also could have been, if that bulb was working, that I did not have the wires in the right locations. So then I made sure that the connection worked. I set it up again and it worked, and I was really thankful for that. I also made a smaller version here at the bottom. I tried to do more of like a cupcake version, and I tried to see how many candles I could get in the cake, and I found that I could fit 4 because with my 5th bulb, it did not light up, and I could hear the circuit trying to work, but it was too much. Here is my lesson specification checklist. You can pause this, read over it. For time's sake, I'm just going to go over my somewhats. Does it present a real problem? Well, candles are not allowed anywhere, and for a 6, 7, 8-year-old, this is a real problem for them wanting to have a candle on their cake, but it might not be a real world problem, but to them, it's a pretty big problem. My other somewhat was the multiple acceptable approaches. They can design the cake in various ways. However, the circuit does have to be applied in a certain way in order for it to light up. So there was not a whole lot of multiple acceptable approaches in that aspect. Thank you.